So in this pset, the first problem is to print this pyramid. Okay, so according to what the user inputs, for example, if the user inputs 8, you need to print these 8 blocks like this. So here's how we can think about this problem. Well, one of the ways of doing it is to simplify it, and do a simple problem if you can't solve a hard problem. So to solve a simple problem, let's just solve the problem in which you have, like, if the user inputs 8, you get 8 hashes one after the other. Okay, let's start with that. So how do we take input? Well, we can take input using the do while loop, because we want the user to at least get one. So we want the user to enter the number at least once. So we're going to use a do while loop over here, and n equals get underscore int, and we can give a message over here like height, for example, and height is 8, which is, this is supposed to be entered by the user. And what should happen is that we are looking for a positive integer between 1 and 8, both inclusive. So you're going to say n. So when do you want to repeat this? So you're going to take the user input, and then what you want to check, if it happens that n is less than 0, less than 1, or if n is greater than 8, then keep on asking the user the same question, height. Okay, like for example, in this scenario where the user entered -1, we need to ask the user again and again until he or she enters the right number n, which is supposed to be within the range 1 to 8, both inclusive. Okay, so after having done that, this pattern seems a little complicated if you're just starting with programming. So I'm just going to print a very simple, just 8 of these hashes, one line after the other. So I'm going to say int I equals 0, I less than n hashes should be printed. So this is my for loop, which runs from 0 to n minus 1, both inclusive. So now I'm going to print f. Let's say I print f. What should I print? I should print a hash followed by a \n. This is not the same as this problem, but we're trying to simplify this problem, solve an easier version of the same problem. Oops, \n should be like this. And let me just run this program, make Mario, and see if this works or not. Well, we got a first bug. We should have a semicolon over here. And we run this again, make Mario. Alright, let's see, /Mario. And height, let's enter 8. So we have 8 hashes with us. Let's enter -0. We should ask again, because 0 is not within our range. 1. Okay, we get 1 hash. What about 5? We get 5 hashes. Now we can start to add complications to this problem once we are confident that this works. So what should happen is, let's make this even easier. Let's say we want an n cross n matrix, or an n cross n rectangular hashes, which means we don't want these, we want all hashes, right? That would make it easier. So how can we solve this problem, which is a little bit easier than solving the current problem that we have? So I'm thinking of another loop, which means if there are n hashes over here, I need n hashes. Like if I have n hashes in this direction, I need n hashes in the horizontal direction as well. If I need to print a rectangular piece of the pyramid, I need a rectangular sort of a block. So I'm going to say int j equals 0, and let j run from 0 to n minus 1, j++, and I'm going to print a hash n minus 1. The reason for n minus 1, I'm saying n minus 1 because you can also say this is from 0 all the way up to n minus 1 including n minus 1, or you could say j less than n. Both will work the same. So what will happen in this case is, let's see what happens in this case. Well, this compiles, good news so far, but if you enter 8, you have all a. You have 8 times 8, 64 of these hashes in the same line. So if you want to change this, what you need to do is after every 8 hashes, this inner loop, you need to print a new line. So I'm going to printf a new line character \n. Alright, let's check this out. Make Mario /Mario. Height is 8. Let's say we get an 8x8 rectangular tile of hashes. But now what we want to we want to convert this rectangular tile into a pyramid. How can we do that? Well, if you note, on all these indices, I is 0, I is 1, I is 2, I is 3, I is 4, I is 5, I is 6, and I is 7 over here. In this direction, I is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and yeah, some 0 to 7. What pattern can we notice along this line? Well, this is, if I is 0 and this is 7, so I plus j is n minus 1 over here. And if it's n minus 1, which means 7 over here, then we can print a hash. Otherwise, we should print a blank space. So what I'm saying is, just to be clear, I'm just saying I found a pattern. If you look into it closely, you can find this pattern. I could find this pattern over here. If it so happens that, j plus I or I plus j, whatever you want to call this, is less than n minus 1, we should print a blank space. Otherwise, we should print a hash, right? Otherwise, print a hash over here. Alright, let's run this and see what happens. Let me see. This seems correct. I plus j over here is 7. I plus j over here is 7. Here is 7. Should get this one for pyramid. So let's make Mario and /Mario. Oops, /Mario. Let's say 8. This seems to be working. Let's try on some more examples. Let's say 5. Alright. Say 4. 4. And let me give an edge case 1. Let me give another edge case 0. Let's ask again, which it should. And yep, this seems to work. So I'm going to just run check 50 on this. Do I have check 50 in my history? Yes, I have check 50. Let's run check 50 on this. And username, password, and it's preparing. What else could we have done? You can think of other ways of doing this same problem. One of the ways is to print this separately, print the spaces in a separate for loop over here, and print hashes separately, another for loop over here. That's another method. You can have 2 for loops over here, one for the hashes and one for the blank spaces. Okay, one more way of doing this is actually to use 2 for loops. Let's try that out. If you want to do learn one more way of doing this, okay? So for int, what should happen here is, let's say we have 2 loops here, j less than 0. We want to print the blank spaces first, and then we want to print the the hashes after that. So these are for the blank spaces, and then the next for loop, we would have a for loop again. This one is going to be for the hashes. Alright, so what will happen here is for j equals something, right? So let's see what happens. Over here in the first iteration, we have how many? We have n minus 1 blank spaces. So we would have we should start with from n minus 1 all the way up till 0, and so n minus 1 till 1, I guess. Yeah, you can do this. So there will be n minus 1 hashes or blank spaces. Oops, printf printf blank space, and then you would have hashes over here. J equals 0, J, and then how many of these you want? Yep, it should be less than or equal to I, J plus plus in this case, because you want one hash in the first one, second hash in the second one, two hashes in the second one, three hashes in the third one, and so on. So I would printf another hash over here, and then printf \n. Alright, so let's try to run this, see what happens. Make Mario /Mario, let's say 4. Okay, so there's a problem here. Problem is you're getting 1 hash, 2 hashes, 3 hashes. This should be actually like this, right? We want, 7 of these, and then this should decrease depending on I. So for example, over here we need 7 of these hashes, then 6 of these hashes, then 5 of these hashes, and then 4 of these hashes, and so on. So let's make Mario again, /Mario 5, and there's 1 extra hash over here. So I'm just gonna say greater than I, because you need to start from n-1, and let's say we go till greater than I, which means 1 to n-1 in the first one, 2 to n-1 in the second one, and so on, right? So let me try this. Make Mario /Mario height 5. Yep, this seems to work. So now let's try one more, height 4. So what is happening here is, in the first go we are starting from I equals n-1, and we're going all the way till I. J is starting from n-1, and J is going all the way till I, and in the second one J is starting from 0 and is going all the way up to and including I. So when I is 0, this prints once, and I is 1, this prints 2 times, and so on. If J is n-1 and J greater than I, what this means is start J from like n-1, which is 5. If for example start J from 0 4 in this case, and count 4 3 2 1. Okay, so you have 4 of these hashes over here, and so on and so forth. 4 hashes, then 4 3 2, 4 3, and 4. That's it. That's the logic here. Yeah, let's check this out. And seems to work. I don't know. You can think of some other methods of solving this problem, but these two methods are kind of what came to my mind. Let's wait for the results. And yes, this is correct. So thanks for watching, and if you want to give any feedback or need any help, links in the description down below. And yeah, like and subscribe. Peace.